Here we go. All right, welcome, folks. It's episode number 9 million. We have so many amazing stories to share with you. I'm really excited about today. This is our Zoomup. It's our meetup on Zoom. My name is Michael Huggins, and I'm introducing all kinds of community members to our program so that you can experience this. And I got my co-host today out of Chicago. What's up, Scott?
And to be accurate, 9 million is a little over exaggerated. We are actually on 82, I believe. This is 82. So,
Yep.
even the real number is impressive. So, and I'm off like a teacher. I'm going to take summer break at number 100. I'm going to be like our guest today. I'm like, I'm out of here. You're not going to chain me down.
Right. So while we have them, we're compiling all these stories of transformation to show you and inspire you to get up there and change your own life. Take action, use real estate to do it, take control of your finances, your time, your family's direction, where everything's going. And you can use our community in our process to do that. And you got to remember, real estate is risky. There are a lot of upside potentials, but if you don't cross your T's and dot your I's, the downside could also wipe you out. So be careful, surround yourself with professionals. Okay.
And if you like what you're hearing today, and if you're watching a recording or even you're seeing this live, get back in touch with the person who invited you here and ask them to get you to an intro, a property tour, or a workshop. Myself, Michael Huggins, even our guest today, Allison, they went to an intro first and then started their careers with us. But get to an intro, a property tour, or a workshop. Ask for that.
Yes, because there's a lot more to what we do than just this little 20, 30-minute episode. So you can go watch all the previous episodes if you want, get really inspired. There's some amazing stories. Young, old, poor, rich, everywhere in between. You got to come and check it out. So there's no excuse why you can't have your amazing life and your financial success that you've been searching for. We're here to help with that. So cool. Stay connected with us. All right, now, our guest today, she's been crushing it. She's been a pillar in our community for several years. She's helped a lot of people on the East Coast. I know Scott's a lot more familiar with how she got introduced to our community. Scott, what do you have to say about our guest?
Yeah, we were doing, this office we've had since 2007. We were doing live meetings here and connecting on a weekly basis. And at one point we said, you know what, I'm sure this building would be something that people would appreciate in other places. And this girl saw us on a webinar. So she didn't travel anywhere to see us. She just opened up a laptop, watched the webinar, saw the vision, and then decided to even help people out on the East Coast like we were helping people here. So, and she's done a ton of stuff. And to be honest with you, the nice thing about what we do as real estate investors, it does create a freedom for ourselves, right? So she has traveled. She's traveled more than anybody else I know. I don't know another student that I have that has seen more countries than this young lady right here. Young lady. Right. Since some of us are like, eventually I'm going to get to Rome. Right. And she's done it in her youth. So she's got the travel bug and she's awesome. And she does well enough to have herself be able to do that. So please help us welcome Miss Allison Palmgren from North Carolina, everybody.
Allison.
Thank you. So excited to be here, guys. Love getting to connect with everybody in our community and share the journey with others. So I am down in North Carolina in Durham, close to where Duke University is. We've got a little Research Triangle Park, which is mini Silicon Valley down here in College Town. So I started my journey about 6 years ago getting into real estate. So I was in the corporate scenario. I was a finance manager for a large auto group. I did the 4 or 5 years of college education scenario and went down that path. And in the dealership environment, it was pretty good money in my 20s, but I was working all the time. The hours were crazy. I had to work every Saturday, never knew when I was going to get off work. So even though the money was decent, I felt like I was missing out on a lot because I was always working. That was my life. And I didn't want to continue down that path. And as Scott had mentioned, I have a thing for travel. That's one of my biggest passions. I did a term in Europe in college and fell in love with traveling. So working at a dealership, you have to be in front of customers to make money. So it wasn't a job that was very flexible with hours or for taking vacations. So that's something that I was really missing. So as I got deeper into the dealership scenario, I realized the higher up you get, the more hours you work, and it's just very confining. So I had, anybody who's been in sales or commission-based scenario, you kind of know the better you get at your job, they eventually change the comp plan on you, where you have to achieve higher results to make the same amount of money. So that was really, really what hit me, where I realized that I didn't have as much control over my income as I thought. So that was the final straw that made me realize I really needed to get out of that to have more control of my life. So I actually put in my 2 weeks notice without having another plan, which is a little kooky, but you know, I don't have kids, I'm not financially responsible for anybody else. So I had the flexibility to do that and some savings. And I was looking for business opportunities or investment opportunities. And I came across an ad on Craigslist for this real estate investing group. And little did I know that answering that post changed my life forever. So that's how I got connected with this group, went through the webinar process, the meeting process that you're doing right now to get more info. And I decided to start working with the team and get educated. And about 3 months after starting the education, I did my first fix and flip. And that was really awesome to start the process so soon after the education. And it's different for everybody. Some people it takes longer, some people sooner. It all depends on, you know, what type of action you take and how quickly you go through things. But I made the same amount of money on that first flip that it took me in, like, that I would make at my job in about 3 months. And I was a low 6-figure earner at that time. So looking at doing a fix and flip, I didn't get done with that in a month or whatever, but the total hours that I spent on that was about 1 hour or 1 week that I used to work in the corporate world. You know, 50, 60 hours on one flip made what I used to make 3 months working 60 hours. So that was really a wake-up call that, okay, this was the right decision. I'm on the right path to really have the financial resources I want, but also the freedom where I can control my schedule and travel how I want. So that's kind of where it all started, and just haven't looked back, been continuing to learn and grow and do new things. So
I got a question.
Okay, go for it.
So in that first year, because I know you really hit it hard when you started. In that first 12 months, how many flips did you do?
well, in the first 12 months, I actually only did one flip.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I only did one flip, but I was also learning other strategies. I was saving on my taxes at that time period. So I guess overall, in the scheme of things, it's been 6 years since I started working with this team. I've completed about, I think it's 11 flips now, and I have a couple in the pipeline. That was my first focus because I needed to recreate that 6-figure income. And flips have a nice paycheck, but they're also more involved, they're earned income. So that's kind of where I started. My focus and attention was on that. As I started learning more, I got more focused on passive strategies, on rental strategies, money lending. I do a little bit of private lending. I also learned how to raise capital. I've raised about 1.5 million in private capital for my flips, also built up approximately $500,000 in business lines of credit, which is completely unsecured. That's not talking about the private money that I've raised on my fix and flip deals, but that is revolving lines of credit essentially that I can tap into at any time and transfer that money right into my bank account. So that has really been a huge resource, knowing that I have that purchasing power and ability to use other people's money, OPM. If anybody's read the Rich Dad Poor Dad book, you've heard that. So that's been a really powerful tool, using other people's money to build things up quickly. But it didn't happen instantaneously for me. That first flip was enough to pay all my expenses and live off of for that first year that I had gotten out of the car business. And then the last couple years, my main focus has really been more passive strategies, which has been furnished rental properties. Most people know them as Airbnb Airbnbs. That's just one platform to rent furnished rentals on, but I now have 12 furnished rental properties that I actually don't own. I'm leveraging other people's properties that they spent the money on, and I just lease it through my company and then re-rent it out. So that that business has been really, really great, and that I've realized has been more in line with what I want to do with having more flexibility to travel. It's kind of a hybrid between earned income and passive income. So I've shifted my focus, and that's really the great thing about the education is it's not this, hey, we're going to teach you fix and flips, or we're going to teach you tax liens. It is the whole tool belt of real estate investing, where you can learn these multiple strategies and pick what makes sense for you, for what you enjoy, what your financial resources are, for what the lifestyle is that you want. So that's really been awesome, having access to the education to learn all these different strategies, and then being able to pick and choose what makes sense for you. And that'll evolve over time. A lot of people go into real estate thinking, I'm going to do this, but then as they get educated, they realize, hey, I might have wanted to do fix and flips, but I realize rentals are really what I want for the long-term scenario. So
Nice. That's a great point. So you had your job, and by all measurements, people would say you were successful. You went to college, you got the job, you got the income, but you weren't feeling satisfied at all.
No, I felt trapped, and it was a very stressful environment, working all those hours, not having time for myself. So yeah, a lot of people would have thought I was crazy for leaving that job and that corporate scenario in my 20s, but I knew I was missing out on something else, and I was missing out on freedom and creating a better life for myself by having time to do the things I enjoyed. I was justifying all that time and not being happy because of the money, but that wasn't what I wanted in the long term, was the freedom.
So the
Right.
question I have is, who in your life, and you're in your 20s making good money, and who in your life, and how many people in your life were saying, are you crazy? Like,
yeah, all my friends at that time just didn't understand, because I was working so much. All my friends were in the car business, and I remember them, oh, you're gonna go, they just thought it was nuts, but I knew that I was ready for a change. So
and have you talked to any of those people since then? Or they've seen your success?
yeah, I've talked to those people since, and a lot of them ask me about, I've actually had some of them start working with our team, because they've seen, my posts on Facebook and what I'm doing, and want to learn how, they can create more freedom and more financial resources for themselves. So
It's awesome.
Nice. Yeah. It's inspiring. You can't keep a good thing a secret like this.
oh no, yeah, it's awesome when good things start happening in your life. People take notice, and Scott had mentioned the travel, which is kind of my reason why, the freedom. But last year before, or not last year, the year before, pre-COVID, my last trips were Morocco and Egypt. So I spent three months in Morocco and Egypt, which was incredible. I went scuba diving for a week in Egypt in the Red Sea, and then did a week guided tour, did a cruise down the Nile, which was just incredible. I did that actually by myself, but I had met up with friends in Morocco for a week, and they had to go back home to their jobs. And so I kept traveling. That's usually how it goes. I go with family or with friends for a little bit, and then they have to go back home to their jobs, or don't have enough to keep traveling, and I just keep going on by myself.
You line up people can meet you in different places, like, hey, I'm going to be here in a week, you come here, and then go back to your job, and then I'm going to go over here, hey, you come here, and then go back to your job.
I just keep country hopping after they go back home. Another cool travel experience that year was actually our leadership retreat. Our group has a leadership every year, or leadership retreat when it's not COVID, in a tropical fun destination. And so we had actually started off in Panama in 2019. We stayed at a really nice resort, networking, also a tax write-off, because we're talking real estate, networking with other successful individuals with our community, strategizing. So I started off doing that. And then after that was over, then I continued traveling in Panama, and then Belize and Guatemala. So I traveled solo, did some diving in Belize, went and visited some, I think it was Mayan ruins in in Guatemala, and just, yeah, Antigua.
It's
It
all
was
a
just
blur.
so cool.
I just,
So yeah,
I wake up in a different country, not knowing where I'm at. It's awesome.
yeah, so those are my most recent international adventures, but yeah, I've been to a lot of other cool places because of the freedom that I've been able to create working with this community. So it's been an awesome journey, and just excited to keep growing and keep learning, and yeah, love it.
Nice.
Well, me and Michael were actually we met Allison. We're like, all right, we're coming to Panama. So we met her in Panama.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they were there. Woo.
And then she went on south and we went back north to
Mm-hmm.
our lives.
Yeah.
to kids and a wife.
Yeah, a little bit different
awesome.
scenario. I could, don't have to worry about other people. So,
well, there's somebody on the line who's loving this conversation, right? I mean, they're like, dude, they're like, no, that's exactly what I want.
So going from the very structured, like college, world, 4 or 5 years, and then coming into this, online self-paced education platform, how was that transition, and what did you like about it?
I definitely like that you can pick where you want to start and watch the information that's most pertinent to what you want to do. So college, I went to a business school, so I won't say it was completely pointless. I did learn some things there, but looking back, I would have loved to have something like this to just jump straight into, because I've learned so much more about real world creating wealth through this education platform than I did with a triple major with a business degree in banking and finance, marketing, and business management. So this has made me way more money and a lot more freedom. So I am definitely very, very happy with this. So
nice. I'm so glad we got that recorded.
Yes, absolutely. Hey, I got a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked to Eloy yesterday, and he's just kind of kicking off what you're now doing. And how many the Airbnbs do you have right now?
I've got 12 Airbnb properties that I do corporate leases. So my company leases the properties. I furnish them with my business lines of credit. So not using my own money to furnish them, and then re-renting them out, and I get to keep the profit. So that has been very, very nice. It's a seasonal scenario, kind of like the hotel business, but yeah, it's a very nice income as well. So,
well, okay, so we're going through COVID, and Eloy says, hey, I adjusted my strategy, so we even made more in COVID, right? So looking for more stuff. But so here's what I love about the strategy is that you can actually start mathing out your months, right? Like, all right, I know exactly what my average will be. So I need this many more doors to create the kind of income. And the difference between what that strategy is you're not working for money. You're literally creating income based on math equations. So what kind of average do you get out of the 12 doors on a monthly basis, so the people listening can go, you know what, that might be something I want to try?
Yep. Absolutely happy to share that. So it's cyclical. Like I said, January and February are typically slower months. March and October are kind of like the base months, and then summer's super strong, and then usually November and December are decent. But on average, I'm in the mid 1,000 range per month per unit. So I'd say I'm approximately 1,400 per unit right now. So it's close. Where I'm at with my number of units is approximately 200,000 in profit for that scenario. I haven't had them all a full year, but based on what I've been making. And then I've actually got 5 more units in the works right now that I should be signing leases on in the next week or so, which will obviously add to that business significantly. But it's such a great strategy for the arbitrage scenario where you don't have to own the building. You don't deal with a down payment. You don't have to worry about the AC breaking, about fixing the roof. You may have a security deposit, which is also negotiable. You have rent. You can also negotiate. Do they give you 2 weeks free rent or a month free rent to get set up? So the investment is very, minimal compared to a lot of other real estate scenarios. You need the furniture and stuff, but in the scheme of buying a house versus leasing, it's very low startup capital. So it's great for people that are getting started because it's a lot lower risk, not owning the real estate, but controlling. Owning or controlling is what you want to do, and it may depend on the scenario. So for this, I found that I like controlling the real estate as opposed to owning, just because I'm able to grow quicker. Not to say I don't want to own, but just if I've still got a couple flips I'm doing, which are more capital intensive. So once those are done, then I'll start looking for some that I may want to purchase instead of just leasing. So it's very flexible too.
Nice.
And your company is creating a cash flow right now that a bank will say, yeah, we'll let you use our money, right? Like you have the cash flow that if you want to go buy something like a condo in South Beach, right? You're like, yeah, I want to buy this condo in South Beach to Airbnb it. And your cash flow now that you set up, controlling the property instead of owning it, now makes the banks,
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing with real estate is you've got a hard asset, or banks like that. Banks aren't the only resource to borrow from, but when you have a hard asset that you can attach that debt to, people feel a lot more confident knowing that there's a tangible asset attached to that. So it's kind of people who aren't in it now think, oh my gosh, why would anybody loan me money? How do you raise capital? But with the right training and with the right education, people are throwing money at you. They want to earn more money on their money. And when they're not educated, they want to give it to somebody that knows how to put it to work for them. So so it's really awesome to see that transformation where it's kind of intimidating, and who would want to do that? I don't want to ask people for money. That's weird. We don't, we're trained to not talk about money, and that's a private scenario. But when you share your success and talk about what's going on and what you're doing in business, it's crazy how many people kind of come to the front line to, oh, you do that? Well, so I've gotten
more
people actually poach me off of social media. One of my private lenders for my fix and flips found me on LinkedIn for my posts, and I get tons of messages about lending, that we want to lend to you, and I'm like, oh no, I don't really like this type of lending, and then they're trying to talk me into wanting their money. So it's really cool when you're educated that it just becomes a whole different scenario where you get to pick and choose what money you want. So
yeah, and I think it's a great point that you're doing Airbnb and short-term rentals now, but when you first got started, that wasn't even in part of the curriculum.
No.
The ability to have this whole tool set, like you said, and pick and choose what fits your lifestyle. That's one of the big benefits of being a part of our community. So thank you for emphasizing that and sharing that with us.
Oh, my pleasure.
So I want to point out something that Allison just said. And this past week, we said something in one of our webinars that, most people think, oh, I don't know anybody with money. Nobody would ever lend me money. They're like, I don't want to have to beg for money, right? They come into that. That's what stops a lot of people. Like, oh, well, I know I couldn't do real estate because I don't have any money, and I don't want to beg for money, right? And then what I told the person, I'm like, no, you have to understand, like, you're going to become the smartest person in the room. And I'm not trying to say that as an ego, but you're going to become the smartest person in the room. And that genius is, you're going to have the genius you become, or the genius that you exhibit, is going to be the opportunity that other people are going to want to invest in, right? So if you can just just let other people invest in your genius. And that's exactly what you're talking about.
Yep, exactly.
Cool. Well, stick around. We got 2 bonus questions for the live people here.
Okay.
And then also, let's see. So folks, after this, it's now very important that you come to our intensives, our house tours, and our workshops. You got to see the mechanics. You got to see the how everything works. So you start getting results, kind of like Allison's getting. No results are typical. You still got to work for it, like she said. So get back with the person who invited you here, Chandler. I'm talking to you. Get back with the person who invited you here. Get the next series of videos, whether you want to watch the recordings now or you want to come to some live stuff throughout the week, and we'll just walk you through the process.
And Allison, I think I want to stress right now that you did not connect with us live. I mean, you saw a webinar out in North Carolina that I was doing in Chicago.
Yeah.
And that's how so see, some people need that confidence. Like, I'm just watching a webinar. I don't get this. You did this completely without anybody around you in North Carolina. And then what you did, I'm going to highlight this. What she did was she actually gave people an opportunity to work with her in North Carolina from what she had learned. So she built a community around what she was learning to actually be able to do what she's doing today. So, yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. We got an awesome system, folks. So we are out of time, but come and check out more episodes and then our future events coming up. We'd love to share all the details of how it works and the benefits you can get from working with us. So thanks again, Allison, for being here. And we really appreciate your contributions to our community, and congrats on all of your success.
Thank you. My pleasure. See you later, guys. Thanks.
All right.
Bye, everyone.